Yo, what's up, AJ? How you doing, brother?
I'm good. How you doing, bro?
Hey, man, I'm good, man. Just trying to uh, get through get through this Wednesday. Hope everybody's having a good Wednesday. We're getting closer and closer to football, which is always a good thing. Um, so that's actually a great thing, to be honest. So, we'll
We
start
actually
off.
got college football this Saturday.
Yeah, yeah. You got Notre Dame playing over in Dublin. Notre Dame and Navy, and then you have what USC. They have a few matchups. It's no real killer game. So, but it'd just be good to have football back on. It would be real good to have football back on. So we want to welcome you
Yep,
guys
yep.
out to Football Chop Up. Uh, you know, uh, Basically we want to give you a little explanation about the regions that we cover. AJ, I'll let you tell them about the six regions that we cover, so that unfortunately, we don't cover some of the viewing area, but we want to make sure that y'all know, these are the teams and the areas that we're talking about.
Yeah,
AJ,
the six regions that we cover, leading with Orange, Osceola. Yep. You hear me now?
yes, I can hear you now.
You- All right, cool. So the six areas, six counties we cover: Orange, Osceola, Lake, Seminole, Volusia, and Brevard County. Amongst those schools, it's over 100 schools. 76 are FHSAA schools. So it's tons of athletes, high quality athletes. But those are the six regions, six counties that we cover within Central Florida. Hopefully, in the next year or two, we can branch to Polk County, and then on the other end of the spectrum, include Marion and South Sumter County, or Sumter County rather. So looking to expand. I think that's another year or so out.
Yeah, I had to close my door, man, because my wife might be walking through, and that might get our views up. So I want to make sure I close the door. Uh, but uh, but I'm stupid for those who don't know.
You are
But yeah,
stupid.
yeah, but those are the counties that we cover. We're looking forward to hopefully definitely picking up Polk, definitely picking up the Gainesville, Achalacha, Marion area, and then even up in the some Sumter area, because there's definitely some great football out there. But for this, hey, you see what she says? She says straight facts. But for this area, this is what we're doing. So with those who don't know, we want to make sure that we give you the opportunity to kind of have an idea about our social media. AJ, if you want to tell the people a little bit about, because we're on all social media platforms, you can tell them a little bit about that.
Yes, sir. So we on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube. Our YouTube channel is at the bottom there, the ticker Elite 100 Prospects 6. Obviously, once you start typing in Elite 100 Prospects, you'll see the logo. It'll come up. But we're on YouTube. We're on all the social media platforms. So if you want to contact us, definitely contact us at any of those pages. You can send us an email at info@elite100prospects.com. Again, that's info@elite100prospects.com. Yeah, so if you got any questions, anything, contact us in our inboxes for sure.
And if you forget, you can always go to our website, which is www.elite100prospects.com. For
Right.
those, so want to make sure also, pretty shortly we'll have nominations for the Elite 100 game on that on the website. So if you want to nominate kids that play in the game, the only requirement is they have to have a 2.3 GPA, and they can't be going to college early. So that's the only thing about that. Well, man, we moved up in the world like George and Wheezy, man. We have a couple of sponsors. Want to definitely give a shout out to everyone who's helped sponsor. We'll definitely talk to you in a second about sponsorships, but we want to make sure that we give them their full credit. So without further ado, we're going to start off with our first sponsor, Mr. Greg Francis of Francis Osborne. We want to thank them for supporting Elite 100.
When you've been injured in an accident or on the job due to the negligence of others, know this: your community has your back. Communities look out for each other, and I protect my community. Whether I'm fighting for a personal injury case, medical negligence, or winning the largest civil rights settlement in U.S. history, you will receive personalized and aggressive representation with a goal to maximize your win. Scan now to schedule your free consultation. Osborne and Francis, real tough lawyers.
Hey man, that's a tight little commercial, you know. Shout out to them for looking at our vision and supporting us. So we really appreciate that. We do have other sponsors. Tell them a little bit more about which we'll talk about them a little bit later as well. But tell them a little bit about one of our sponsors, and I'll finish up with our last sponsor.
Yep. Our game, we have a game of the week. So obviously every week we're looking for a game of the week sponsor, but within that, there's a player of the game. Our yearly player of the game sponsor this year is none other than Sleeve King. He makes nice uniforms, primarily in youth football. He's out of Fort Myers, but several of our top teams in Central Florida sport his gear. Apopka Raptors, West Orlando Jags, just to name a few. So Sleeve King is our player of the game sponsor for the year. I'm excited to have him. He'll also be the official, we'll wear his uniform. So he'll be the official uniform provider, sponsor, so to speak, for the game. So we'll have Sleeve King uniforms this year. So I'm definitely excited about that as well.
Yeah, shout out to Sleeve King. They were also nice enough to make sure that we have plaques that we give to the player of the game of the week. The game of the week is the game that we choose. Last week, for week 0, the game of the week was Jones versus Jesuit. But we're starting everything this week, and we'll tell you about the game of the week. But at the end of the game of the week, we'll present whoever wins the MVP will get presented a plaque, real nice plaque, and all that as well. Finally, what's going to happen? We actually had picked the overall player of the week, but we were talking, and what we want to do is have a fan vote. We're supposed to get that out. We didn't get it out to you guys, but we're going to make sure it's out. We want to see who the fans would vote for Player of the Week. There were a lot of guys that were very deserving of this award. We'll talk a little bit about 'em. I know that you had a little Trenton Gummer at Bishop Moore. He had a very big day, a couple of interceptions, and you had Romello Ware at Olympia that he had a couple of long touchdown runs. You had other people. Let me think. Tyree Davis, who had over 400 yards, and is there anybody else?
Davion Ross from D-Land, 4 touchdowns. Pernell Brown at Jones had two touchdowns, just over 100 yards, and then Deron Coleman, the quarterback, had 5 touchdowns for Jones.
Yeah, so I love VB, but I wouldn't even like 2 touchdowns and 100 wasn't gonna get you nothing this week. Like these boys, because like this week it was like, man, these guys came out. We have a kid that the kid that we end up choosing, and we want to see. We'll put all that stuff out for you guys to vote. But the kid we ended up choosing was Anthony Franklin Jr. Tell them about his stats a little bit, AJ.
Anthony Franklin Jr. goes to Lake Minneola, transfer from Lake Mary, from one lake to another. But the young man had 3 interceptions and he had a pick 6. Personally, I love the game from Darion. The 5 touchdowns is a great, efficient game. But just realistically speaking, DB is the hardest position on the field. You playing backwards more than half of the game. And he got 3 interceptions and was able to return 1 and put points on the board for his team. I mean, I just don't see how that.
If he don't score, they don't win because his final score is like 27-22. And that's a huge, like you said, that's something that we look at, definitely. And Darion definitely, played a great game. We chose him, but we do want to know what the fans think, and I think that going forward, we're going to let you guys choose who is the player of the week. And so with that being said, we did get a sponsorship for the player of the week. Every week, it would be this. They'll get a certificate. This will be a certificate that he gets. Our sponsor is Peeps, Peeps Brand Apparel. They will provide them with apparel as well. Peeps is you get opportunity, go check them out. The email or the website is www.peeps merchandise.com. So, and
Spell that one
I'll
more
put
time.
in it's www.peepsmerchandise.com. And so, give a shout out to Peeps Brand Apparel for making sure that they provide us with that. Also, we got in touch with Frogger, so we'll be presenting that award to whoever wins at Frogger, so they can get them some wings as well. So, I look forward to that because Lord knows I like eating a few wings. But with that being said, we do have other sponsorship opportunities. You pretty surely will put that stuff on the website. We'll mark out things that we've already gotten. But if you like to, be a sponsor for a particular game of the week, like if and we'll put that information out. But like if we're coming to your game of the week, like if there was someone at Jones or Coco who wanted to be a game sponsor, then make sure that you get with us so that we can make sure that happens. Uh, this week, commitments. We do have a couple of commitments this week. Both of them actually, I coached one and one was under the younger team. But Jordan Bridgewater should be committing this Friday. Actually got a call just a second ago. They're trying to figure out where he's going. I told him you have to talk to the kid. And then the other kid is Trevor Jackson. He's going to be committing as well on Saturday. Is that correct?
Yep, Saturday,
Okay.
26th.
So, we wish those boys good luck. Hopefully they can, choose the right school for them. And tell us what you think. Like while we're sitting here, if you're in the comments section and you know these kids, just let us know what you think as far as where you think they will go. Now to the games of the week, which is we had the game of the week, which last week for those who don't know is considered week 0 because it really was the games did not count. However, there was some, we'll talk about it later, but there was some good matchups for, week 0 across the board. But AJ was at the game of the week. I wasn't able to attend. So AJ, if you could please tell the people about some of the highlights from you kind of threw it out there, but just give them a little bit more information about week 0 game of the week, who it was, and what you noticed at that game.
Game of the week, kickoff classic last week was Jesuits versus Jones. Jesuit is a private school out of the Tampa area. Very strong program, especially recently, the last 3 to 5 years. Jones is obviously one of the stronger teams in Central Florida. Game was in Camping World. Typically, Jones likes to play that game on Saturday, but it was on Friday. My sources told me that Jesuit did not want to have to come here Saturday and deal with, obviously, all the Orlando crowd. But the game was good. Jones won 38-18. Darian Coleman, sophomore quarterback, threw 5 touchdowns. Trevor Jackson threw 1 touchdown. Vernell Brown, junior wide receiver, he had 2 touchdowns. Defense looked pretty stout the whole game. James Chenault, Bobo, he had an interception. So Jones, they look good. One thing that was a little concerning is early on in the season, those first couple games, you see a lot of kids cramping up. So I did see quite a few Jones players cramping up. So that's going to be something they're going to have to correct here as far as staying hydrated a little earlier throughout the week, knowing that they'll sweat so much game day.
Yeah, and I definitely want to give a shout out to Big DeAndre Robinson. I had quite a few coaches tell me his get off was amazing. That he really, and you tend to see guys, when it's their senior year, you get to see them kind of step up because now, they the big dog on campus. So I expect a big year out of him from what he was saying. So with that being said, who's the week 0 player of the week for the Elite 100 game that we chose?
Kickoff classic player of the week. I think it's an obvious choice. We're gonna go with quarterback Darian Coleman. He orchestrated the game beautifully. He was a magician, a wizard. He made every throw he needed to make. His decision making was on point. Accuracy was on point. Obviously, with the transfer of senior 4-star quarterback Trevor Jackson, that heightens the competition in the quarterback room. And DC had a he has something in his eyes. You can see it. He's locked in. So I can't wait to see how that transpires throughout the year. But yeah, we're gonna go with Darian Coleman, 2025 quarterback or 2026 quarterback, Jones High
Well,
School.
well deserving. Definitely put on the show, so he deserves it. So with that being said, also I just want to make sure the fan player of the week that's who we picked this week. But we've decided to, instead of it just being the overall player of the week, we've decided to let you, the fans, pick that, and you will we'll put all that information on social media for you guys to
And
do that. What'd you say? What'd you say, AJ?
and just to touch base on that, just to touch base on that fan vote player of the week, we're going to put that primarily on Twitter, and that could be anyone. So we'll look at the top performances throughout all 6 counties. And yeah, like I said, that could be anyone, including whoever won the player of the game. So I think it'll be interesting.
Yeah, we'll give you guys the guys to choose from, because some of you people would say your baby had one tackle and put him as player of the week. So we'll make sure that we let them know who are the guys that you'll be able to choose from. Uh, Drico said, yes, my boy. Vic said, hydrate with Pedialyte. For those parents who don't know, Pedialyte is a good hydration method for these kids, or even the old fashioned pickle juice, and just really water. Those are things that, the kids should be drinking water, you know, like at least 2 to 3 days before the game. They should be watered up. Uh, but we know they drink a lot of fruit, so we get it. All right. So with that being said, let's get down to it. Week one, top 10. We put out our week zero last week. I think we did have some changes. So do you want to go ahead and start from the start for the next five up, or the next three up, and then we'll go 10, 9, 8 all the way up to number one.
Next 3 up, we looking at D-Land. D-Land had a strong performance in their kickoff classic. They won convincingly. Um, I think D-Land is going to be a hot team. They got a test first week of the season, so we'll see how that goes. But D-Land. Then next up, we got EG, Egali, another team that's loaded with a lot of talent. Their 2025 and 2026 class is very deep. And then last but not least, we're looking at Lake Mary. Lake Mary had a convincing win over Bishop Moore, another playoff team from last season. So they could easily have been in the top 10, but they're like one of those next teams waiting to get in that top 10.
All right. So who do we have as number 10?
Number 10, we're looking at Heritage. We stayed with Heritage at the 10th spot. They beat Jensen last week 22-2. Showed strong defense. They even had some turnovers or some things to clean up on the offensive side. So potentially they could have scored upwards of 40+ points. So we're looking at Heritage at the 10th spot.
All right, number 9.
Number 9, we're looking at Osceola. Osceola lost a tough game to a very respected Apopka. Blue Darters, they lost 15-16. They have going back to Heritage, Heritage plays Satellite. Osceola, they play Treasure Coast, so they have a matchup starting out of the gate. They're on the road to Treasure Coast, so we'll see how that goes.
All right, so now number 8.
Number 8, we're looking at Lake Minneola. Lake Minneola beat Dr. Phillips 27-22. They'll be at home this week versus a very, very quality Manatee ball club out of Bradenton. That's another tough matchup right out of the gate. So we got Lake Minneola at the 8th spot.
They'll probably bang Manatee out because Manatee's their former coach is no longer there, who was doing a lot of good work with them over there. But good luck to those guys over there in Lake Minneola. All right, number 7.
Number 7, we're looking at Olympia. Olympia Titans. They beat Boone 14-0, so very strong defense with the shutout. They have a test right out of the gates as well. They're at home versus Wakava. So we'll see how that matchup fares for them. Olympia at number 7.
Yeah, and number 6, I know we talked about it. That would be the Edgewater Eagles. They they got moved down. They were number 5, but it's kind of hard to have them in front of the person who was number 6 last week, who beat them, and that's Seminole. So we've moved Seminole up to number 5, and quite frankly, there was a lot of argument about moving Seminole up to number 4, which is what I want to do, but I got outvoted with the group. But Seminole looked very impressive defensively, But I think both of those teams, I think both of those teams, and even everybody we going up, they're going to be better when the season goes on. So, but we do shout out to Seminole and Carl getting his first, official victory as a head coach, even though it was weeks
Yeah,
ago.
you was kind of glitching out a little bit. You was glitching, so
For
I
the
just
people.
feel the people in what you were saying.
Yeah.
I know they probably couldn't hear. But yeah, we at preseason there was a lot of talk between 4, 5, and 6. 4, 5, and 6 was interchangeable. Some people wanted Seminole as high as 6. I mean, as high as 4. We settled with them starting at 6, but they just beat Edgewater, who was 5. So, like you said, Edgewater will be at the number 6 spot. They face Bishop Moore at home. Seminole is at the number 5 spot. They face a very respected Rockledge group at home as well. So we got Seminole at 5, Edgewater at 6.
Okay. And that takes us to number 4. At number 4, we had the Apopka Blue Daughters. Apopka was in a very tough matchup. We had a little controversy. Yakima Jenkins steady sending out a video and a picture of a catch that could either be, you can't tell if it's in the end zone or not, but he was real serious about it. And I'm like, man, quite
Was
frankly,
that the back line, or was that the back line, or was that the front pylon?
front pylon. That's what I told him. Would it be in the front pylon? I'd have to see a little bit more video because the knees was definitely in the end zone, but it looked like he caught the ball outside of the end zone. But anytime that you could go to you could play a popka and you don't have your best player in chick, and it's a 16-15 game. That is really a lot. I mean, that was impressive to us. 'Cause I think that we thought without Chick that they didn't have a chance. So
Yeah.
it just once again goes to show what we always try to tell people, that you can't count out these powerhouse teams. Like these teams that consistently win, they consistently win for a reason. So we get that. But shout out to the Popka Blue Daughters by making sure, one thing about them, boy, they know how to come through in some close games. So now we get to the nitty gritty. We got the top 3. Don't think it was any changes, but we are guaranteed that there will be a change this week. It ain't guaranteed because
Well, I ain't
2 could be
guaranteed.
2 could be 3, but we have everybody's favorite school in Central Florida, Joe High Tigers. We put them in number 3. They had a very convincing win against Jesuit. So it's going to be interesting to see, what the game of the weeks look like this week. But because that's definitely, a game that we're going to pick, and I'm pretty sure it's a game that we'll consider for game of the week. But all I'm sure of is that next week the Tigers will win and the Tigers will lose. So
Yeah.
so tell the people about the number two Tiger out there, AJ.
Number 2 team, Coco. They beat Satellite handedly. They played on Thursday night last week. They won 51-0.
Treat a
Which
duck
is
like a duck.
obviously,
Yeah, treat a duck like a duck. I
treat a
can
duck like a
respect
duck,
that.
so to speak. Right. So yeah, we got Coco Tigers, defending champions. I mean, they look ready to play Jones Friday, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, Coco Tigers at that 2 spot.
Okay, and then so that leaves us with number 1. We got
Number
the
1,
number 1 team.
Ma-
Obviously
Mainland Buck.
the school with the number 1 basketball hop guy in America ever. Vince, but Mainland, they tend to keep athletes over there. So Mainland has a tough one though this week. They go up against D-Land, and Coach Darlington is always going to have his teams up for a game like that. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. That could easily, be the game of the week as well. So
Could have been.
So now we'll kind of tell you what we decided was the game of the week. I would want to know what people think the game of the week is. So if you like to tell us who you think the game of the week should have been, please let us know. But this is one of my favorite parts of the show, and definitely AJ's favorite part. We have our Elite 100 pick'em. We pick is it 5 games, and then we have a game of the week. Is that correct?
Yeah, we pick 5 games, then we have a game of the week. Sometimes we get a little fancy. We'll pick a couple more if it's intriguing matchups. But yeah, we try to pick a game from each county. So yeah, we got those 5 games. So yeah, man, let's see what we got. This week we got 6.
Yeah, well, this is what they're saying at Edgewater. They say practice game. Remember, it didn't count. They only played 2 quarters with their starters. I mean, that makes a difference. That was some of the arguments that were going on in the room. Uh, but with the starters, supposedly it was just the starters against starters. It was 16-7. So
Let me tell everybody in Central Florida a little secret. So in fact, yes, the kickoff classic doesn't count on your record, this, that, and the third. But to every player playing and to every coach coaching, that game counts. And especially when you play a team within your area that you see, Seminole or Edgewater, Apaka, Osceola, those games count, bro. They mean something. So when good on good was playing, Seminole, they outplayed them, so to speak. So it's no knock on Edgewater. I mean, they right at 6 though. They good.
yeah, I feel whoever it is on that though, because the one thing about games, we was up 12-0 against Apopka in the fourth, and they still beat our ass. So I understand what they're talking about on that. But let's make sure we start off with, game of the week. Who we got? Who's the first one we picking? And you make sure you keep track of our records because I know you will. But who's the first one we're picking?
Game of the week.
Well, not game of the week. That's last. But I mean the pick'ems of the week. Right.
Pick 'em. We'll start with Osceola County. We got Toho versus Liberty. Inter-county matchup. I like Toho to win this game. I think their offense is just going to be too explosive, put up too many points. So I'm gonna go with Toho.
Who did Toho play last week? Do we know? But I'm gonna pick Toho anyway. I just would be interested to see what they.
Toho, I think they play like one of them purple teams, maybe Harmony. I think.
Because I thought Harmony went down and got blasted by.
I forget who they play.
Yeah, Harmony went down and got blasted by somebody down south. Right,
American.
Yeah, because Luke them hit me up on that. But anyway, so I'm gonna go with Toho as well. And for those who don't know, since we cover so many areas, it was Timber Creek that they played. Since we cover so many areas, and you're right with the purple. But since we cover so many, we cover 6 counties. We basically, always have 6 games, and in those 6 games, we'll always have, someone in the county represented. So, that was game 1 that we're picking. What's the next game? The next game.
Next game, we got Lake County. We got Tavares versus Atlantic. Atlantic is out of Volusia County. Tavares is out of Lake County. I'm gonna go with Atlantic in this matchup. Atlantic beat Melbourne Central Catholic. All of their stars play like stars. So I'm gonna go with Atlantic.
I'm gonna go with Atlantic as well. Tavares hasn't really been doing much lately, so I'm definitely gonna go with Atlantic. What's the third game we're choosing? Can you hear me? I'm glitching.
Next, the third game up, we're gonna go with yeah, I hear you. We're gonna go with let's go with Rockledge versus Seminole. That's a matchup of 2 respective programs throughout the state and throughout Central Florida. But we're gonna go with Rockledge Seminole. The game is at Seminole, and I like Seminole to dominate Rockledge. I think Seminole got something to prove. There's been a lot of chatter between the 2 teams, friendly chatter. But I like Seminole to stand up. Bo-Key.
I like Seminole too because Rockledge got smashed, and we got to quit. And as much as we love T-Rome, they was going in on him heavy. I'm talking about it
Heavy.
in the chats. But that's the thing. You can't just be talking, that your team is this and that, because we say, Rockledge hasn't won anything in a while. So
Long time.
T-Rome, y'all got to step up, man. Y'all got to handle your business, or else, man, I'm telling you, they're gonna keep roasting you in those groups. So, but we definitely going with Seminole. Who we got week 4?
Next up, we have
Game 4.
for game 4 Orange County matchup. We got Wekiva versus Olympia. Wekiva had a tough game against Buchholz in Gainesville. They lost. Olympia beat Boone 14-0 at home. They'll be at home again. This will be a tough matchup for them to start the season, but I do like the Titans to come away with this victory, so I'm gonna go with Olympia.
This game's going to be, a really good game. I think that the Titans uh, definitely look good in some areas. In some areas, they definitely needed to improve. I went to the game. First off, definitely prayers for Lagaris Marshall. He messed up his shoulder, and I think he's out for the season. He was running tough before it happened. But I'm telling you now, Olympia defense is biting. Like them boys is coming up hidden. Big shout out to TD Cross, who has made the transition from tight end to defensive end, and he looked like he been playing it the whole time. So you're gonna have to bring your lunch, uh, but when we talk about bringing the lunch, Tyree is bringing his lunch, so we're gonna be able to see. So, but I'm gonna go ahead and go with Olympia as well. But I wouldn't be surprised if Wekiva pulled it out, because if nobody don't want to tackle Tyree, it's going to be a real problem, because Tyree's looking really good from what I've seen. And like I said, and he's the same kid that went 80 on Seminole. So
Yeah,
he's a big boy. He's a big boy. So you
baby
have to want
Cam.
to. Yeah, you have to make sure you want to stay in the paint. And big shout out to Romello Ware as well. There were a lot of people that questioned, some of the things he did at Lake Highland Prep, if he could do it, on a bigger scale. And Boone, was out there biting by the score 14-0. Big shout out to Boone. They didn't quit. But he was able to, make his presence felt. So big shout out to him as well. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Olympia as well. Uh, who we got next up?
Next up, last game, Mainland versus D-Land. D-Land, strong. TJ Moore at quarterback, Javen Ross at
I don't know if that's AJ. AJ's the one paused on my screen. So so he's talking
I
about
can hear you.
D-Land. Yeah,
I can
but
hear you.
on your screen, were you frozen, or were you still able to see yourself?
For a minute, it broke
All
up.
right,
But
all
yeah,
right,
just
let's
talking
go.
about D-Land, TJ Moore, Javen Ross, MJ Smokes, Coach Darlington and company. They going to come ready to play. But Mainland, it's too talented, man. I just think they got too many pieces. Mainland beat Matanzas 42-0. They treated Duck like a duck. And I think it'll be a very good game, but I got Mainland winning this one by 6, 7 points.
Yeah, it depends, because if Darling will whip out that old wing T, I mean, I don't know if he's going to do that, but if we got that old wing T, that's always a problem. I'm not going to pick Darlington to win. The game is the game at D-Land, or is the game at Mainland?
Game is in D-Lane.
Hey man, that game might be tougher than you think. I mean, especially if Coach Darlington is running that wing T, because it tends to give athletic teams a big problem. So, but I'm still not going to go with D-Land, but I wouldn't be surprised if they put if you're going to get a team like Mainland, you got to get them early.
Yeah, I
So,
feel you. I just
I wouldn't be surprised, especially with the whole wing T. I just think if you can't just line up and beat Mainland, I don't think that's happening.
you're not.
I don't. So you got to have some kind of something to your effect, and that's what the wing T does. But that easily could have been a game of the week, to be honest. And this is one reason
Yeah, it
why
could
we
have
need.
easily been.
This is one of the reasons why we need more sponsorships, so we could, because these guys that we have that are going out to the game of the week, they pretty much charge us. So, so that's why if you know anyone that would like to sponsor, if you're someone out in D-Land or even out in Mainland that would like to sponsor, definitely give us a call, because we get a crew out there as well. So and then so with that being said, I'm pretty sure I know what is the game of the week. I will let you tell everyone what the game of the week is. Week one game of the week is
Coco versus Jones. A matchup we saw last season. Jones won that game 28-18.
mhm.
I like Jones to win this game. I think that Jones does a very good job, Coach Elijah Williams, getting his team prepared for these early season matchups. Last season, they played Miami Northwestern, came out, played Coco. So the speed for Coco wasn't too much for them because they just saw Miami Northwestern. And I think it's similar logic playing a Tampa Jesuit team, a team that has Notre Dame commitments, Clemson commitments. You play a team like that of that stature, it prepares you for a week one matchup. And Jones plays a kickoff classic like a real game. There's no JV playing. It's a real game, 4 quarters. So I like Jones over Coco for sure.
okay. We have before I go back there, we have Torian who has the hand over face. I'm assuming that was 'cause that was before we were talking about Jones. So that's probably about the and I doubt he knows anybody from mainland, and so he's probably talking about Wakava. Uh, T, let me know if that's what you're talking about. Uh, you got EJ that says he loves them over Coco. Uh, for this is one that definitely, uh, yeah, that's what you're talking about. Yeah, so this one, Coco, I'm picking the Tigers to win. I think the Tigers are going to do a great job in this game. Uh, the Tigers are going to beat the Tigers, so that's my choice. So I'm picking the Tigers to win. Uh, I'm supposed to go Coco or Jones? Is that what I'm?
Yeah,
I
who
guess.
you pick?
I guess if I'm gonna have to do it, man, I'm gonna actually because we didn't pick the same teams. I'm gonna go with Coco. You pick the same teams. I mean, if we both are saying that if we both are in here saying it does we can't
I'm
have
gonna
the
tell you
same.
now. I'm not picking. I don't care who you pick. I'm picking to be right every single time. I don't care if we got the same picks. I'm just not picking another team because the other guy picked it.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, it's no fun for that. So I'm gonna always, if we the same, I'm gonna pick somebody else. Because you keeping score, right?
yeah. So like
Okay, so
to
that's
to
why I say.
count
So
on that,
I'd
we
rather
got
do that.
lifetime. You got lifetime records you got to live up to. So you
Right.
just be
So if
picking
that,
just to be picking.
I still rather do that because then you could just continuously win if we just pick the
Yeah,
same
because you
guys.
at this point,
So yeah,
I am
so
ahead of you. You're
yeah,
not
so
gonna
that's
catch me unless you do. Yeah.
I'm gonna definitely take Coco, even though I wouldn't be surprised either way. Like definitely on toss up games, like I just want a good game. I'm pretty sure that Jones is gonna come out fighting. I'm pretty sure Coco's gonna come out because Coco did lose last year to Jones, so they should want some get back. So so we'll see. What's going on with that. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'll take Coco since you took Jones. And if you took Jones, if you took Coco, I'd have took Jones. To be honest, uh, I think that they're two evenly matched teams. I think they really are. Uh, so it's gonna and I tell you, like what people don't want to see that I'm gonna want to see is what happens in the trenches. I mean, I'm gonna want to see what happens. Coco has some big boys, and so does Jones. So I want to see what really happens in the trenches. Most people don't get excited about that, but these will probably be the two best trenches that they'll both face. To be totally honest, I don't see them facing nobody, on their schedule that, besides, of course, when Coco goes to play St. Thomas. That don't count. So I'll definitely take Coco on that. So just recap our picks for the people.
Mainland versus D-Land, we both took Mainland. Toho versus Liberty, we both took Toho. Atlantic versus Tavares, we both took Atlantic. Rockledge versus Seminole, we both went with Bokey. Wakava versus Olympia, we both went with Olympia. And then the game of the week, Jones versus Coco. I went with Jones. You going with Coco.
Oh, and big shout out, and I apologize. A big shout out to D Hart, who is the coach at Liberty. For those who don't know D is probably, I mean, he's probably one of the most dynamic players to ever come through Central Florida. He had set all kind of state records. I think he had the all-purpose record, and he did a whole lot when he was over at DP. He ended up winning MVP of the U.S. Army All-American game in 2011. He ended up going to Bama, got hurt, went to Colorado State. But it's good to see these guys coming back. Speaking of which, I saw Jeff Badet at the Boone Olympia game. He's coaching. So this, I saw Big Boy that went to Nebraska. I'm having a brain fart, but he went to uh, Freedom, but now he's coaching with Gabe at over at Olympia. So, we're starting to see a lot of these kids that they were playing football 10, 11, 12 years ago, and now they're coming back, being the next generation of trying to help guys be who they are. Yeah. Uh, So yeah, this is EJ who, EJ gonna always one thing I admire about EJ boy, he is gonna always support his teams, like to the 15 power. Yeah, and we definitely agree with everything you said right there. But he goes support it to the 15 power. So we hope, like I said, for me, I just want to see a good game.
Yeah,
But I'm gonna definitely I don't want to see nobody get blown out and definitely I just want to see a good game, especially early on in the season. Because that is the game that I'm gonna be coming to. So I just want to see a good game. So hopefully both teams can perform well and may the best team win. So with that being said, man, that takes care of that. Um, it, we basically have questions and comments, but we don't have too many questions tonight. Just more comments. But we'll give you guys like 1 minute to give us some questions if you have them that we can answer. If not, we'll be done and we'll let you have the rest of your day. So, is there any other teams that you wish you could see, AJ? I mean, because we can't be in a lot, but I know for me personally, I would love to see Popka Koi personally.
yeah,
But I would love to see that, especially since you had the wing bets. And matter of fact, do we have the wing bets written down?
yeah. The wing bets. Let me see. Wing bets. Um,
Because I just want to make sure we got the wing bets because we don't want people, trying to chicken out on their wing bets.
wing bets. Malcolm wing bet was with you. That was a Koi by 20. Um, and then me and Kay
Hold up.
got a Olympia.
Was it a Koi by 20? It was
Oh,
Evans
that's
by
when
20.
they play. That's when they play Evans by 20. Yeah, that's when they
Yeah,
play. So yeah,
yeah, yeah.
we didn't have no bets with this particular game. But if any of Koi people out there wanna stand up, I, I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
Okay, so we have a question. Warren Ware says he has a question. I'll get to that in
You
a
ain't got no
second.
question.
Robert Walker says Evan alignment should be a pretty good game, and he actually has a question. He wants to know what does AJ stand for.
None of your business, man. That's classified information, man. We can't be giving the whole world all that kind of information, man. What's wrong with this guy?
The man want to know, man. The people want to know. I'll tell you what AG stands for. If you ask me, Warren, I'll tell you what it stands for. Let's see what EJ talking about. Yeah, I mean, they don't play nobody, so they might, but it's the same old Winter Park. They ain't gonna play nobody, and they're not really gonna make no damage in the playoffs. So we know that already. The people want to know AJ or what does AG stand for? Which one do people want to know, Mr. Ware? Because if nobody's not asking me, I don't have. But if you want to know me, I don't have no problem telling my stuff. AJ said he don't want to let y'all know, but so I mean, I think that's fair. Let's see here. Okay, so he said both. So I'll tell him mine. AG stands for all good. When I was a single man, it was American Gigolo. But now that I'm married, it just stands for all good. So for those who don't know, that's what AG stands for. You know, all glory. I'll take that. That I can respect that one too. But in my younger days when I had hair, it was American Gigolo. Once I lost my hair, it was just all good. So that's. But for those who really want to know, hey, I'll tell you the story. AG actually stands for Alton Glasgow. That was my name. I had a grandfather that I loved tremendously. His name was L.V. Willis. literally LV Willis. So as I got older and got to my black consciousness, I wanted to find a name, that was, my kids could have an African name. So I found Wasim. It was started with a W, 6 letters. Willis was 6 letters, and I just took the AG and made that my name because I
So
already
you
knew I
just
wanted.
made your name up.
Yeah, I took the AG because my grandfather, I wanted to change my name to AG. I wanted to change my name uh, to AG Willis, but he, unfortunately, he passed away. So once he passed away, I wanted to make sure my kids had strong African names. So I named, I always knew I wanted to name my son Assad. So that's kind of how that came up. Assad Amir Wasim. That means lion prince that's handsome. So that's why. So that was important to me because Samson is one of my, the story of Samson is one of my favorite books in the Bible. So as men, we have to prevail and have to be strong at all times. So that's why that happened. So shout out to y'all. So now, for those who know, now you know. Uh, Shout out to you, Warren. And AJ, is there do you want to tell anybody anything about because I knew this was coming. Do you want to tell anything about what does AJ stand for?
Boy, my ignore game so strong, boy. We can just keep on moving along, man. I ain't waste my time with this nonsense, man.
Well, with
Yeah,
that being
Action
said,
Jackson. That's what it stands for. AJ stand for Action Jackson.
hey, you gotta be careful, man. Hopefully your wife ain't in there hear that Action Jackson stuff. Gotta be careful, cause like hopefully, see, I know my wife is off the show. That's why I brought up the American Gigolo. She ain't listed, but anyway, man. With that, with that being said, hey, we got a lot of games next week. We really hope that you guys go out and support the kids. I think it's going to be a hell of a season. I think there are a lot of teams that are kind of right there. So I'm looking forward to the season. Uh, and then of course, we will add on some college games. When the season comes through, we'll add on a couple of those. But it's going to be interesting. So we look forward to it.
You you
Shout.
you you taking Notre Dame with that minus 20 and a half, or you taking Navy with that plus 20?
Man, I'm gonna take Notre Dame.
3 touchdowns? Man,
Yeah,
please,
because
boy.
one thing about Marcus, you ain't gonna be able to run it against him, and Navy can't do nothing but run the ball. Like you ain't gonna beat Marcus just running down his throat. Like he a linebacker. Coaches usually don't like the strength of their team is generally something that they was good at.
Hey, I
And
know
so
they
I just
got Sam Hartman came from Wake Forest, but if you take minus 20 and a half first game of the season
you saying
versus
a half or the game?
the game is 20 and a
Oh,
half. That's the
yeah.
pick
I'm
spread.
taking that, man. I'll take that because they're gonna win by 3 touchdowns. I'll take that. I mean, I just know that Navy plus Navy in the beginning of the season is never. It's almost like a Popka. That the old Popka. Towards the end of the season, that's when you don't want to play Navy. In the
If
beginning of the
Navy
season,
score if Navy scored 14 points, that means
they're gonna score
Army
about 40. They're gonna score about 40. I promise
they
you that.
gotta score. They gotta
Yeah,
score 40 to 50.
and that's another thing. Yeah, I just don't see it. If Navy has a new OC and they trying to run an offense with, because I'm sure they didn't do a Dion and get rid of everybody. And like
They just got rid of the coach. Bro was there for a long time too.
yeah, I just don't see it, man. Like you gotta, because you'd have to clean that whole. You definitely have to clean out Navy to get a new because those guys are used to a certain offense that they play. So
Navy gonna run the ball. They gonna do what they do.
and you're not gonna run it. You're not gonna run on Marcus. Marcus Freeman, that ain't happening. He just ain't he ain't built like that. So you know,
I gotta do more research, but 20 and a half, the first game of the season, that's a
yeah, no,
lot.
that's a lot, and I do agree. But I mean, the risk is worth the reward. I think you'll get some. So if that's the case, how much is USC? USC should be like 35.
Who they got?
I don't know, but USC would be going to be 35 pretty much the whole season unless they playing like Oregon and people like that. Hold on, I'll find out for you real quick because that's a good question. For those who those who don't, who is USC playing? Let me add USC Trojans.
I wonder what the halftime probably the better pick with that damn Navy game.
Oh yeah, you be all into that one. They
But
playing
the
San
total.
Jose. They playing
Oh
San
yeah.
Jose, man.
What's
I
that
mean,
spread?
so I didn't go. I didn't get the spread, but let me get it for you real quick. Let's see. Let's see. Notre Dame.
The,
He said
the spread, the game total for the Navy Notre Dame game 50.5. So
that's a bad. Yeah, yeah. If that's what they like, then they might know something we don't know. Uh, let's see. I'll make it easy for you. Trying to find that's gonna drive me crazy. Come on, man. I don't have it here. I can't find AJ. AJ, I can't find what the
35-14. 35-14. That's 49.5. 49.
I can't find the spread, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be USC has a big spread against San Jose. I guarantee you it's over 30. It's saying I guarantee you it's over 30, and they're playing at home. But Notre Dame and the Notre Dame game may be different because they are playing in Dublin out,
Yeah,
which
they playing Dublin.
by the way, before I forget, if you are a parent listening to this and your kid is a 2025 or you have some coaches, they are looking for teams to go over because they have a high school tournament game over. So they have 5 high school teams, like a total of 5 teams from Florida. They pay 5 teams from Georgia. So they have 5 teams playing against each other in Ireland. If you're interested in that, get at me because I was asked to see if I can find a team in Orlando that'd be willing to do that. So USC by minus 31. And I'll take that all day as well.
Yeah, I take that USC for sure. For
Yeah.
sure. For
So
sure.
so with that being said, hey, we appreciate your time. Next week is going to be interesting because obviously with some of the matchups that we have, because remember the guy from Edgewater was saying that it was a scrimmage, what have you, but now it's no scrimmages. So guess what? If you lose, you're gonna drop. It's just what it is. Unless you lose to a team you know, that nobody in the area was gonna beat anyway. If you lose to St. Thomas Aquinas or to or the IMG, we're not
Yeah.
gonna hold that. We're not gonna hold that against you. But so hey, we hope that everybody wins. Hope everybody plays. Also, to AJ's point, I don't even know who that was, but I just want to let you need to make sure your kids know that whenever that camera's on, whether it's practice film, whether it's game film, whether it's a scrimmage, it counts. Coach is gonna look at that film. I'm telling you. So make sure that the film makes you look a certain way. So if you don't hear anything else from Coach AG, if you heard nothing we say, make sure your players know that when that camera's on, you got to perform. And that's basically, I think, really what AJ was basically trying to say. At the end of the day, it counts. Anytime you step on the field, it counts. Period. And that's just being real, because someone is filming it. Because if a kid goes out, it's been plenty of kids that went out in spring games and got scholarships. We've seen it happen. So shout out to everybody. Hey, we'll catch you guys next week. Like I said, if you know of anybody who wants to sponsor, let us know. Go to the website starting on Monday, www.elite100prospects.com, and go ahead and click nominations as to who you like to be in our game. We take 50 from both sides. So thanks a lot and peace.
Peace.